We are Paramore! God, I love Paramore. Welcome back to Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. We're on the go at sasportsstar.com. My name's Michael Jimenez. This show goes from 12 to 2. Again, it's sports, pop culture, nostalgia. And speaking of nostalgia, we have Lo from Afternoons on Energy 94.1 joining us right now to talk about a big festival going on in Las Vegas that you are super excited about.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is my first time ever on a sports station, so I'm very, very excited. And yes, I mean, this has literally taken over everyone's timelines, everyone's Twitter feeds. It is like a dream festival lineup that's actually happening. I mean, Paramore headlining, My Chemical Romance headlining, Taking Back Sunday, which is my favorite band ever. I mean, it's every teen scene queen's dream come true.
It's interesting. And last night on the Blitz from 4 to 7, Jason Minix brought this up, and Joe Reinagle was saying that he has never heard of most of these bands. But My Chemical Romance, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say that I am a fanboy who likes 3 of their albums, but I know 4 or 5 of their songs, right? But at one point, Joe called them romance chemicals. I was like, romance chemicals. I'll never be able to see that name ever again without thinking of calling them romance chemicals. So
that's like the Great Value version of My Chemical Romance.
But why is it so nostalgic thinking about this? Because like you have to be pretty much around. You would have to be what 25 to about 35 to like look at this band, look at these bands like Paramore, My Chemical Romance, Avril Lavigne, I believe is part of that tour.
Absolutely.
Or tour that's show.
The festival, yeah.
And so I mean, what does it mean? Like how would you describe this music to those who do not understand? And which bands are you most looking forward to seeing at that festival?
Lots of great questions. I feel like this is a perfect thing for, you know, all of the millennials that are really going at, you know, through this craziness that we call the pandemic and kind of struggling to feel good about their situations and making good memories and whatnot. So, you know, the nostalgia of it just feels like, man, this is bringing me back to, you know, a great memorable time in my life. And I'm going to call up my bestie and be like, hey, we're booking a trip to Vegas because we're of drinking age now. And, you know, we can actually like go and enjoy this and have a good time. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool. It's going to be hard. I wish the festival was a few days because it's just one day and they're splitting it up from, you know, early in the morning till midnight, probably when My Chemical Romance will go on. Cause they're, I want to say like the big headliner.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough to see all of the bands that you really want to. You're going to have to, you know, make some cuts. Even going back to like MySpace top 8, like you're gonna have to pick your top 8 favorite bands that you're gonna see.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like go. It's kind of like South by Southwest or the ACL festival. You can't see everything. You have to kind of like map out your day and I'll trade off this person for this one. 303 is also going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, I know they have lots of songs, but obviously their big one was Don't Trust Me. And this is one that I wish my daughter, who's a junior at LSU, but is still only 18 years old, that she would be able to go. She'd be 19 at that point. She loves all these bands, but man, taking my daughter to Vegas when she can't actually enjoy Vegas would be very, very difficult.
It's definitely a tough one. I think they did this on purpose too. Because you would hope that, you know, people of age, you know, drinking age will have a little bit more common sense and a little bit more manners, you know what I mean, for a big punk rock festival like this. I mean, this is literally Warped Tour, you know, 01 through 09.
Grab your Vans. Throw them on. You know what? I have a theory that I'm going to start when it comes to the When We Were Young tour, or I say tour, it's a one-day event.
Festival, yeah.
When I think of When We Were Young, I think people are thinking about, oh, very nostalgic. When we were young, the song was on the radio. Avril Lavigne, 303, Paramore, My Chemical Romance. But when I think of When We Were Young and I think of the city of Las Vegas, I think of the Killers.
Oh.
That was the Killers, probably their 3rd or 4th biggest song. and they're from Las Vegas, I bet you they're added on there.
Ooh, that actually would be a good one. You know what else I think of when we were young? Adele has a big hit called When We Were Young, and she's gonna be kicking
Yes.
off her Las Vegas residency this weekend. So I don't know if there's a play, like
Whoa.
maybe someone who's like, a closet Adele fan. That's maybe My Chemical Romance will be like, yeah, we're gonna bring Adele out. You never know. I think there's always that opportunity for shock and awe in Vegas for
There
sure.
always is. There
Yeah,
always is. Hey, are you familiar with the Lovers Tour in May?
that's another big one that's gonna be
Oh
happening in
my
Las
god.
Vegas.
Okay, so for the demo, so we've talked about let's switch demos here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've gone from 21 to 35. Let's go 35 to 49 over here. In mid-May, there's going to be a festival called Lovers and Friends in Las Vegas. And I'm taking a look at the rundown here, the lineup here. Lauryn Hill, Ashanti, Ja Rule, Timbaland, Genuine, Sean Paul, Usher, Ludacris, Little John, Neo, Trey Songz, Akon, T-Pain, Mace, TLC, Sierra, Nelly, Brandy, Monica, Lil Kim, Eve, John B, who I love me some John B. So many, Drew Hill, Sean Kingston, Trick Daddy. Man,
TLC.
yeah, well, what's left of
I know.
TLC,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because like this is basically music from 1992 to about '03. I mean, I guess Beautiful Girls by Sean Kingston probably wrapped it all up, right?
That was like a '06 record, I think.
Okay.
I remember listening to that in high school.
But it's so funny because I love going to these festivals and whatnot. I've been to them in Austin. I've been to festivals in Dallas. I'm going to tell you how old I am. I'm 44 years old.
Oh,
I went to a festival. I have a teenage daughter who's 18 years old at LSU. I have a 9-year-old daughter. But back in 1996, I went to the Blockbuster Video free concert in Fort Worth, Texas at the Texas Motor Speedway. Here was the lineup. It was like, okay, think back. This was 96. These were
okay.
new bands. They were top of the charts at this point,
I had
right?
just gotten my first Spice Girls CD.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. The lineup consisted of No Doubt,
Oh,
Bush,
wow.
Third Eye Blind, Matchbox 20, Jewel, Collective Soul, Presidents of the United States of America. What was it called? There was Paula Cole, there was Jewel, there was like so many different bands that performed there. And it was like an all-day thing. And they weren't doing 25-minute long sets. Collective Soul, by the way, had the best set I have ever seen because I remember they had that song Shine.
Mhm.
Yeah. And anyway, so they would do that part and they finished the song and everybody in the crowd, over 120,000 people were there because it was a free concert.
Right.
And everyone started doing the yeah, yeah, even though the song was over. They went back to the middle of the song.
And started it
I'm gonna
over.
let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. And then they went back and then they went back. It was one of the greatest concerts I'd
Amazing.
ever been to. What's the best concert you've ever
Oh,
been to?
geez, that's a hard
And what's
question.
the worst concert you've ever been to?
The best concert I've ever been to. I mean, honestly, it's very similar to this When We Were Young festival. So, I grew up in South Florida, and a rock radio station out there would put on what they call Buzz Bake Sale,
Mhm.
and it's a kind of a mini like rock festival, and that's the first time I ever saw My Chemical Romance, Paramore, 30 Seconds to Mars, Slightly Stupid, Real Big Fish. I mean, it was just a big festival that they would put on at the fairgrounds. So, I've been to probably, 5 or 6 of those. So, you know, I can't collectively pick one out because they were all just so really good. So I gotta say Buzz Bake Sale, just in general, gotta be my
Yeah.
favorite. The worst concert I've ever been to, I don't know that I've ever been to a bad show. I mean, maybe it was so bad I decided to drink to the point where I wouldn't remember. So so that's probably where I'm at with that. But I mean, you just gotta love live music in general, you know? I've never been to really a bad show, in my
ASAP
opinion.
Rocky at ACL. Easy.
Really? That was the worst one? And I
So-
like ASAP.
So I went to weekend 2 of ACL, And I saw him, and he was like 10 minutes late, whatever. He comes out. He was like, it's my birthday, y'all. He had like a milkshake he drank during the concert.
A
Like,
milkshake.
yeah, he literally was looking into a camera, drinking the milkshake while his song was playing in the background. And then he was apologizing for what happened the week before. And he left a little early. And then I asked a friend who was there the week before, I was like, what happened? It's like he didn't even show up. He came like 10 minutes. He was clearly messed up on something.
Mhm.
And then that was it. And I'm like, well, he realizes that nobody that was there last week came to this week's show, right? But I guess not. And yeah, he was pretty bad then, but he was even worse the week before.
Carl mentions ASAP Rocky. When I think of ASAP Rocky, I think of the skit he did on SNL with Childish Gambino, where they're making fun of Migos. That's
I
what
just
that's
think
what I
of
think
Rihanna now because she's literally making him famous. So
I mentioned yesterday on the show that Rihanna, I was like 10 feet from her one time about 12 years ago.
oh,
It was like looking at a statue. It was
I
just
bet.
beautiful.
I hear she smells really good too. I've never met her
Didn't
personally, but that's what everybody says.
didn't get that close, but I was halfway fainting, so I'm not sure. Worst concert I ever went to was Mary J. Blige.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know those stories that she talks about how she would go on stage and she was inebriated.
Really? That was one of
I think
those?
it was one of those. One of the
Darn.
funniest ones I went to was Montel Jordan of This Is How We Do It fame.
Okay.
He sang 5 songs. The first one was This Is How We Do It. The third one was This Is How We Do It. And the fifth one was This Is How We Do It.
Was it a troll or did he just forget?
No, he gave the people what they want, you
Okay.
know?
Hey,
You
nothing
know,
wrong with that.
we all knew that he stood 6'7" apparently at the end of the songs. The best ones I've been to a lot of good rock ones. Stone Temple Pilots were amazing. I've seen them 5 times, before Scott Weiland's passing. Most recently, a few years back, I saw the Weezer tour with Panic at the Disco.
I went to that show.
I went
Yeah.
to the one in Corpus. I don't know which one you went
Okay.
to.
I think they did. So, I just got here from Oregon. So, they had to have done a Portland or a Seattle show. I definitely went to that tour. I also saw Weezer. They did, it was a summer concert series with the Tampa Bay Rays. So the
Mhm.
Rays would bring out, like a big artist after some of their big games. And, Weezer was one of them. And we actually got to go onto the field with
Nice.
Weezer. It was epic.
I went to a concert that was a free one. Remember the oh, you weren't here in San Antonio. So March Madness was here a few years back,
Okay.
and it was Maroon 5 was here with One Republic,
Cool.
and there was a couple other acts out there. It was a good concert, and lots of people showed up. Right, probably 20,000 people going for a free concert. When they had the March Madness about 5 years ago in Dallas, the headliners were it was the weirdest concert, by the way. Opening up was LL Cool J,
Okay.
and then after that was Tim McGraw,
Okay.
and then after that was Fun, and then after that was The Killers.
That sounds like my Apple Music playlist right there.
Exactly.
It's just like so eclectic.
So The Killers are gonna be performing at night because they were gonna be also live halftime on CBS.
Okay.
They were
Got
gonna
it.
show that, right? Well, about an hour and a half before the Killers were to take the stage, a monsoon of a storm came by, and it wasn't like, "Oh, it rained a little bit." We're talking about 30, 40-mile-per-hour winds, sideways rain. Everybody left,
Oh no.
and we huddled under this tent, right? Under this, like, AT&T tent, and we made our way back, and there were only, like, maybe about 400 of us there when the Killers took the stage, and they did the whole concert, and I have pictures, I'll show you on my phone. They were the only one. We had, like, 400 or 500 people there. It was so great, and it's this whole huge festival. I have photos from, like, of Brandon Flowers, he's only, like, 10 feet from me. It was
Yeah.
so cool, but I've seen them 5 times. They are great with every show,
So
but
good.
I'm looking forward to it, but man, Lo, welcome to halftime.
Thank
We
you.
hope that you're a normal presence here. People are excited that you're
Literally,
here.
like Rob and Joe just walked by, like
They're waving at
like little
you.
kids, like exciting.
Yeah,
I'm warming up your chair, Joe.
we're talking about the romance chemicals, Joe. We're talking about the romance chemicals, but that is Lo from Energy 94.1. You can hear her on the afternoons. Outstanding. Follow her on Twitter as well.
At It's Low Radio. Thanks for the plug.
Outstanding.